All right, so let's look at this. Since there's no special operations, no multiplication division, we go left to right. 4 minus 5 is what?
-1.
Yeah, since 5 is bigger than 4, it's negative. The answer would be negative. 5 minus 4 is 1.
And it's negative
Left.
1 plus 6.
Then it's negative 1 plus 6. 6 is bigger than 1. The answer would be positive. 6 minus 1 is 5. Five is bigger than 2, so the answer is positive. 5 minus 2 is 3. Three minus 8. 8's bigger, so the answer is negative. 8 minus 3 is 5. 5 is bigger than 1. 5 is negative. 5 minus 1 is 4. The answer is negative 4. Pretty straightforward. Going to be the same for all of these. Ooh, oh, we did these already. Let's look at fractions. So negative 9 over 10 plus negative 3 over 5. The first thing you have to do is you cannot have two signs next to each other. If you have two signs next to each other, if they're the same sign, replace both of them with a plus. If they're opposite signs, replace it with a minus. So since we have two signs here, they're opposite signs, so I make it into a minus. And then from here, we could either do the butterfly or we try to figure out the LCD. Five times negative 9. And we'll talk about those rules in a second. 10 times 3. So it's negative 45 minus 30 over 50. So negative 45 minus 30 is what? Is the answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. Since they're both negative, the answer is negative. 45 plus 30 is, so we have 45 plus 30, 75. Can we simplify them? Or we could go ahead and convert this into mixed number. How many times does 50 go into 75? With how many left over? Right. So it's 25 over 50. Can this be simplified? 25 goes into 25 once. 25 goes into 50 twice. So your answer is negative 1/2. You want to do another one? More fractions. Where's the fractions? Here you go. Look at that one. -1/2 plus 2/3. -1/2 plus 2/3. When it comes to signs in fractions, the number can be either out in front or to the top number. Never on the bottom. So if you have a negative in front, pair it up with the top number. What do I do next? Okay, anybody else? What's my next step? Multiply. 3 times -1 is -3. 2 times 2 is 4. So on top we have -3 plus 4. On the bottom we have 2 times 3 is 6. So -3 plus 4, is it positive or negative? 4 minus 3 is, there's your answer. Multiply and divide by signs or signed numbers.
Is that part 3?
Well, it is part 3, but we need it because here, when we do the fractions, we're gonna have to multiply different signed numbers. So I might as well instruct you what goes on here first. If the signs are the same, then the answer will be positive. This is whether you're multiplying or dividing, it doesn't matter what. If the signs are the same, then the answer is going to be positive. -2 times -3. Again, as I said, always treat the signs and the numbers separately. Negative times negative. Remember what I said earlier. If the two signs are the same, it becomes positive. So negative becomes a positive. 2 times 3 is 6. So the answer is positive 6. 4 times 5. Is the answer positive or negative? 4 times 5 is 20. Even division. 4 divided by 20. Answer gonna be positive or negative? Positive, because they're both positive. They're the same signs, so the answer would be positive. How many times is 4 going to what? 4? Once. 4 goes into 20? 5 times. So the answer is 1/5. -3 over -9. Since the signs are the same, the answer is gonna be positive. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 9 3 times, so the answer is positive 1/3. Okay, if you don't see what's happening here, then prime factorize it. 9 is made up of 3 times 3. I can cancel one of these, which gives me that. Likewise over here, 4 is made up of 2 times 2. 20 is 2 times 10, 2 times 5. So it's 2 times 2 times 5. The 2's cancel, the 2's cancel, leaving 1 on top, 1/5. So that's multiplying and dividing with same signs. What if they're different? If the signs are different, then the answer will be negative. Two times -3. Positive times negative is negative. Remember, if the signs are different, it's a negative. So here's a positive times a negative. Answer is negative. 2 times 3, 6. Yeah, the answer would be negative. 5 times 2 is 10. -2/4. Answer gonna be positive or negative? Negative. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2.
So for this one, we don't take the sign from the bigger.
Nope. Only because the reason to do that for adding subtracting is because adding subtracting, we move along the number line. This one is multiplication, is a series of additions, so.
When you do answers for division, do they have to be fractions?
Good question. Let's look at this one. Well, yeah, this is gonna be a fraction also. Let's make it 30. Is the answer gonna be positive or negative? 30 divided by 15. Yeah, 15 goes into 30 twice, so the answer is -2. It just so happens if the bigger number's on the bottom, then you usually have a fraction.
What is the number like?
On where? So like negative 100 over 20. Okay. Whenever you have something like this, if they both end in zeros, cross out the zeros first. So you have negative 10 over 2. Is the answer positive or negative? 10 divided by 2, 5. If you don't see that just yet, prime factorize it. This is made up of 2 times 5. The 2's cancel, leaving me with negative 5. Let's combine these. Don't worry about the size of this, because remember we talked about how you solve fractions first. What do you do? Well, in a sense, yes. So first you have to do, tell me, is the answer going to be positive or negative? Why? You're right, it is going to be negative, but why? Here, if you have multiple equations and they're all multiplied or divided together, there's no addition subtraction, count the negatives. 1, 2, 3. If you have an odd number of negatives, the answer is negative. If you have an even number of negatives, the answer is positive. So if you have a series of equations, numbers with different signs, just count them. Negative, negative, negative. There's 3 of them. That means the answer is going to be negative. Now I don't have to worry about the signs anymore. Now all I got to do is worry about the numbers. So 4 is made up of what? 2 times 2. 15 is made up of what? 3 times 5. 20 is made up of 5 times 4. 4 is made up of 10 is made up of 12 is made up of 2 and 6. 6 is made up of 1. Bless you. Remember, this one here, the negative, this is over 1. So on top, I have a 2. No, forget the negative signs, because I already know the answer is going to be that. So I don't have to worry about the signs anymore. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 2. On the bottom, have 1, 2, 2, 5, 5, 2, 2, 2, 3. Yes, I know the answer is going to be negative. Now it's cross out. The 2's cancel, the 2's cancel, the 5, the 5, the 2, the ones, yeah, but the one's never canceling. You always have a 1. So all we have left on the bottom is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 times 2 is times 2. And on top, everything's canceled, so I have a 1. Either one of these two. Either you can put the negative out in front or put the top as negative. So yeah, it looked ugly on top,
A, B, 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 C.
but once you break it down to smaller pieces, it makes it just cross them all out. Okay. Let's look at some examples here. Negative 1.65 minus negative 20.4. Let's work this one out. Remember, you always do order of operations. What's the first thing we do? Well, first off, can you do anything inside the parentheses? No. Now we have to get rid of the parentheses. So we have a negative times a negative. How do I know it's multiplied? Exactly. Because in essence, there's actually an invisible one right there. Since there's nothing after the minus sign in front of the parentheses, there's an invisible one. So negative times negative becomes a positive. So we have negative 1.65 plus 20.4. Is the answer going to be positive or negative? Positive. So since different signs, I know the answer is going to be positive. What do I do with the numbers? I subtract them because the signs are different. Remember, when subtracting or adding, subtracting decimals, line up the decimals first. So 0 minus 5, you can't do that. So I got to borrow 1. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 6, I can't do that. So I got to borrow another 1. 13 minus 6 is 7. 19 minus 1, 18. And please check your answers with your calculator after you finish these, so you see if you got it right or wrong before you enter it. Is everybody okay with the subtraction of decimals? Because if the bottom number is bigger than the top, you can't do it. You have to borrow 1 from the other one, the one next to it. How about that one? Answer gonna be positive or negative? The first thing I do, we have 2 signs next to each other. It becomes a what? Becomes a plus. Negative times negative is a positive. One times 3 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 3 is 6. So the final answer becomes 6 goes into 7 one time with how many left over? 1. And there's your answer. -6 plus -15 minus a -19. There are 2 sets of problems in there. Remember, you can't have 2 signs next to each other. So positive times negative becomes a what? Negative. Negative and negative becomes a once we got rid of those parentheses and multiple signs, go left to right. Is the answer going to be negative or positive? If they're both negative, the answer is negative. What do you do with the numbers? Add or subtract them? Add them. 15 plus 6, 21. Plus 19. Now we do this. Positive or negative? 21 is bigger than 19. 21 is negative, so the answer is negative. Subtract the numbers. 21 minus 19, 2. So that's your final answer. Let's look at this one here. We have negative 19.2, negative 6.7, 15.8, 17.1, negative 5.4. Since this equation is only a bunch of addition and subtractions, we could do it in 2 parts. Let's take all of the negatives and do what with them? So they're all negatives. So the answer of this one is going to be what? Negative. And what do you do with the numbers? Add them, since they're all the same signs. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 4 is 13. Carry the 1. 10 plus 11, there's a decimal, is 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. So all the negatives equal negative 31.3. Do the same thing with the positives. 8 plus 1 is 9. The decimal. 7 plus 5 is 12. So we have negative 31.3 plus 32.9. Now we just have to do these two. That's called grouping. We can do that because of the commutative property of addition. We can move our numbers around and group them how we want to, the associative property. So is the answer going to be positive or negative? Because 32 is bigger, so it's positive. 32.9 minus 31.3. 9 minus 3, 6. 2 minus 1. So the answer is positive 1.6. So far, so good. Well, I'm proud of y'all because think of where you were 4 weeks ago. And if I gave you a bunch of fractions, what would you do? Wouldn't have done them. We would have hated them. But now you're doing them with less belly aching. Almost none. You guys are doing fabulous. So you're not afraid of fractions anymore. All right. So we'll call it a day there because it's almost 11 o'clock.